My friend needs a guitar amp. I have a lot of gear, but not quite enough for a full rig he can use. In this video, we're going to fix that by building a guitar rig that will annoy guitar purists. Embrace the jank and bring the old into the new, because this is Refit Retro. I used to work in a music store. In fact, I even managed it for a couple of years. And in that time, I learned a lot about guitar amps and really just about amplifiers and speakers in general. Guitar amps are the epitome of personal preference when it comes to how they sound, but that's generally at the higher end, while super budget practice amps tend to all sound the same, which is to say bad. Now there's a place for everything, and if a cheap amp is all that's affordable, then that's the only option. But when my young friend started telling me about wanting to get into electric guitar, it got me thinking about some of my own budget experiments and gave me an idea. You see, every guitar amp, as we typically call them, is actually made up of two main components, the amplifier and the speaker. The amplifier actually breaks down even further than that, but we don't need to go into that in this particular video. So, when you see an amp like this, we have the amplifier, or head as it's called, and the speaker, or speakers, which are housed in their own cabinet or cab and powered by the amplifier. And then we have one of these, which is actually the same principle, but we call this a combo because it has the amp head and speaker built into one cabinet. Now, I have a couple of these lying around. These are a micro head made by Orange, because I love Orange amps. Orange is the brand of the amp, by the way, and yeah, I really like their amps. Orange, I really like your amps. So yeah, I had an amp head spare, but no speaker cab to go with it, so I went op shopping. For my American viewers, and my YouTube stats tell me that you do exist, so thank you. In New Zealand, op shopping is what you guys would call thrifting. You have thrift stores, we have op shops. It's short for opportunity shop. Anyway, this is where the guitarists all get irritable because I bought this thing. This is a vintage Philips Mini Watt 40 watt hi-fi speaker, likely made circa 1974 for some stereo system or other. That's right, you can technically use any speaker as a speaker for a guitar amp, but you need to be careful of three things. Number one, you need to make sure to match the speaker's impedance to the amp's output impedance. Otherwise, things like this can happen. My amp and my speaker are both 8 ohms, so we're good. Number two, you need to make sure that your speaker's output wattage is higher than your amp's output wattage. Otherwise, things like this can happen. My amp has 20 watts on board and the speaker is rated at 40 watts, so we're good. Number three, not every speaker sounds good for guitar. Hi-fi speakers are voiced for different sonic ranges than guitar speakers, so even if 1 and 2 match up, not every speaker is going to sound good as a guitar cab. I just got lucky with this one. So now we have our mini guitar stack, and that's all well and good. But I can't give this to my friend looking like this, so why don't we go do something about it? To the build! So first up, we had to tear this thing down. I started by ripping off all the horrible old wood look vinyl, and then with a little bit of convincing, I managed to pop the speaker grill off. The back of this thing is very rarely going to be looked at, so I covered it with some orange spray paint, which should hopefully seal some of the loose fibers back here. A quick cleanup of the corners and the surfaces, and I started applying an orange vinyl. I just happened to have a roll of this stuff lying around. I was originally planning to recover one of my amps with it, but I bought this stuff a couple of years ago and it's just been sitting there, so this seemed perfect. I'm using an artist's roller here to spread the glue. They're often used for applying ink, for screen printing and things like that. I actually have 2 of them, one for applying the glue, and then you'll see I use another one here to press the glue down and roll all of the air bubbles out of the vinyl as it's being flattened. I chucked a big board on top with some weights and left it to dry. While I was waiting for the next section to dry, I started taking some measurements for some pieces we were going to add later. And trust me, this is going to take this thing from looking like a hi-fi speaker to looking like a guitar amp. From here is really just rinse, repeat, flip, glue, vinyl, flip, glue, vinyl, until all the vinyl was stuck down. I moved the box down to the floor to do the bottom so that I could trim the ends properly. While I waited for that last bit to dry, I trimmed the excess vinyl from the back of the speaker. Now, gluing the front edge vinyl was the hardest part of this whole process. There wasn't much surface area, so I didn't use wood glue. I actually just went straight in with a good quality super glue and pressed and held everything down as I went round. Because I'm horrendously impatient, while I was waiting for the top side to glue, I just put a set of cheap furniture sliders on the bottom just to raise it off the ground and make it easier to move around. Once all the vinyl was stuck down and dry, I started stapling the back side. I focused on just tacking it down in place first, and then I came back with my knife and trimmed away all of the excess. There's a natural cavity between the back piece and the sides of the speaker, which made this really easy. Normally with a guitar cab, the jack would sit in the cab and you would run a cable from the amp head to the speaker. In this case, the speaker cable is hardwired to the bottom of the speaker. It's not ideal, but to hide this, I used a little product, again, that I picked up from my previous job at the framing shop. It's called Ecospacer, a little black rectangular tube, and it's the perfect size to run this speaker wire through. I stuck it down to basically hold the wire in place and to protect it from any jostling. I had wired a jack plug on to test the speaker like you saw at the start of the video, but I'd had to take it off so that I could run the cabling through the Ecospacer. So I rewired it and added some sturdy heat shrink to keep it all together. A quick look and I thought it was looking really smart, but it still looks like a hi-fi speaker, so now we're going to make it look like a guitar cab. I modeled and 3D printed these corner pieces. You'll often see corner guards on guitar amps, and they're usually made out of bent sheet metal. Obviously, as these are 3D printed and plastic, I had to make them a little bit thicker and chunkier so that they'd be durable. When I moved to the bottom, I realized that I'd done myself dirty. I had to remove all of the furniture sliders so that I could fit the corners into place. Is this the part where No, we're not doing that for this. We save that for the big stuff. This is an easy fix. Anyway, with the corners done, it was time to add the finishing touches. Remember the Ecospacer? Well, you can also get it in white and even smaller. You would normally use something like piping to do detailing like this, but I didn't have any accessible to me, and this was actually easier in many ways given that it was a square form factor. It was easier to glue against the flat surface. Off screen, I printed a vinyl sticker of my Refit Retro logo and made a new badge to glue in place on the front for the final finishing touch. And honestly, I thought it was looking pretty spiffy. This is what it looks and sounds like. This thing just turned out so cool. It's a little tribute to my favorite guitar amp manufacturer and a practice amp for my friend that would blow the pants off any off-the-shelf product under 400 bucks. Trust me, I sold hundreds of them. Plus, he can say that there's no one else in the world who has a guitar rig like this. It's fully custom. Now, I know this won't be for everyone, looking at you guitarists.
No, don't like that.
But it just goes to show that if you're willing to think a little outside the box, awesome and custom doesn't have to mean expensive. If I was to have bought an equivalently powered guitar cab on its own without an amp, I would have paid like 300 to 400 Kiwi coins. Americans, that's like a whole $4.70 in Freedom Eagles. This hi-fi speaker cost me $10 from an op shop, and then at most $50 in materials. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Believe me when I say that op shopping will be a regular theme on this channel, as it's one of my favorite pastimes. My wife and my family all get into it. It's a whole thing. Please don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe to make sure you get the next drop, and most importantly, just share it with anyone you think might be interested. Or maybe even punish someone with it if you think they won't enjoy it. I still get the engagement, it's great. If you'd like to support me financially, head over to refitretro.com and purchase one of my products. I design them all myself, and I'm making new stuff all the time. Finally, if you enjoyed the music in this video, well, I wrote most of it. Go and check out Lasair, that's Lasair, anywhere that you stream music. That's all, we're done. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.